The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch.
Rob Jarrell.
And today we're going to preview this Saturday's light heavyweight title showdown between Adonis Superman Stevenson and the Polish Prince Andrezj Fonfara. This is a rematch from a few years ago where Stevenson escaped with the 12-round decision after dropping Fonfara twice early and then being dropped himself late. So a few changes have happened since then, and I'm going to let Rob fill you in on those. Go ahead, Rob.
After his loss to Joe Smith Jr., Andrezj Fonfara picked up a new trainer in Virgil Hunter and has looked good ever since.
Yes, he knocked out Chad Dawson in his last fight.
Right.
And this fight is the second fight that they've had together. But the thing is, Fonfara has been consistently there working with Hunter and not just, going off and partying sometimes and then when it's fight time, it's time to show up. Like, he's been in the gym with Hunter, learning the style that he likes to teach. And he has a willing student in Fonfara, because you see that there were some subtle improvements from the first Stevenson fight, the Chavez fight, the Cleverly fight, and the loss to Smith and then Dawson. There were improvements that were shown. One of those was his jab. He had a pretty good jab, but now it's pretty varied. He can vary the speed on it. He places it a little bit differently. He has some better timing on it. His foot movement has gotten much better. He's able to do things that you don't teach younger fighters to do, especially with him being orthodox. You see Chad Dawson being a southpaw. We just talked about this in the Kell Brook versus Errol Spence fight as well, where you're essentially taught to keep your foot on the outside and move in that direction, but you see a lot of guys at the top level breaking that rule and being successful with it. It takes practice and it takes time, but that rule is not concrete. And you're seeing that in guys like Fonfara, in guys like Errol Spence, and even in Kell Brook, because he had a lot of success in that fight. So we have another southpaw in Stevenson who probably has equal hand speed to Chad Dawson, but a vast difference in the power department.
I think he's more explosive than Chad Dawson as well.
Yes, he can really get that punch there when it needs to be there, and he has done so consistently throughout his career. So you'll see Stevenson trying to set that left hand up, and he does it in a similar fashion to what I just talked about. He leans in to his left, inviting that 1-2 from the orthodox fighter so he can counter with his straight left down the middle. And it's worked with success on every guy that he has fought up to this point. And I don't think that's going to be any different on Saturday with Fonfara. There will be a time that Fonfara will have to adjust to the speed of Stevenson. And that's where the danger lies, because like we said, he was dropped twice in the first fight, and he was dropped and stopped by Smith, even though that was an overhand right from in close in a different type of situation. But when you have someone who has a thunderous straight left like Stevenson that can get it there very swiftly like Stevenson can, and they both do it because they break certain rules, I think we'll see a similar fight to what we saw in the first fight between Stevenson and Fonfara.
And then aside from that first fight, if you know Fonfara, he's actually a pretty tough guy. He recovers well. That Joe Smith fight was, to me, an anomaly, because that guy just kind of hit him on the button with everything he had, and
he caught lightning in a bottle, basically.
Yeah, anyone could get hurt by that punch.
Right. And he proved that he was not a slouch by then dominating and stopping Bernard Hopkins, something that even the boogeyman of the division, Sergey Kovalev, could not do.
And Fonfara will be able to bring consistent pressure, working that jab. I like how he continues to pump the jab, stepping in. Doesn't necessarily cut off the ring, but I can see him doing a little bit better once he can get Stevenson into trouble. And he pretty much just wears down his opponents. You can see it with the Cleverly fight. You can see it with the first Stevenson fight. Chavez, Dawson. He was always there. Now, granted, he wasn't necessarily winning the fight versus Dawson, but it never seemed like he was out of the fight.
Right.
He was still trying. He was still coming forward, still landing quality shots. That jab is going to be important for the fight for Fonfara, and being able to vary it up. I think he may go to the body more, but I think he also needs to be wary not of just the left, the straight left or the overhand left, but he also needs to be wary of that uppercut, because Stevenson landed some really good uppercuts in that fight, just like he did in the fight versus Thomas Williams Jr. And it's, again, very explosive. He could explode in, step into his space, and really counter with that. And we know Fonfara, even though he likes to work that jab, he has a very close guard, but he can get hit up the middle. That first knockdown, he got hit with that left hand right up the middle.
Yeah. And you made a good point talking about going to the body. I was going to get into that. And the way he does that is with intelligent spacing, distance, and pressure. Like you said, he doesn't cut off the ring per se, but he can push you to the ropes using that jab, using that distance, and applying intelligent pressure. And what he does is he'll take a few steps and then jump back, let you think that he's retreating, and then come forward again with either a jab or a straight right hand to make you keep retreating. And then the next thing you know, you're against the ropes and he's throwing left hooks and uppercuts. That has to happen earlier in this fight than it did in the first fight in order for him to be truly successful enough to pull out a win. So he started doing it maybe around the 6th round or so versus Stevenson in the first fight, because he was kind of playing defense for like the first 4 to 5 rounds. This time, within the first 3 rounds, he has to be able to start pushing Stevenson back. He has to start that fade earlier from Stevenson in order to get a victory on the cards or by stoppage.
Now, if you see Virgil Hunter, when he works with Ward, he doesn't just shoot for the breadbasket here. Because he can vary up his jab, he's going to shoot here, but he's also going to shoot for the chest, because that can take just as much out of you upstairs as it will downstairs, especially if you're punching right to the heart.
Yeah, or that solar plexus area, because no matter how jacked you are for some reason, this is just still a soft spot.
Yeah.
And like Rob said, that's one of those high-level things that a lot of people don't teach. And using that will help to slow Stevenson down a lot faster than he did in the first fight. Because Stevenson is pretty much a textbook guy on where he places his shots. You know where they're going to go. You know what he uses. When he's retreating, he's going to try that uppercut. When he's walking to his left, he's looking to land that straight left. And as far as the right hook, it's usually to disguise that uppercut, like I was just saying, or to create space to get out of there and get back into what he wants to do, which is probe that jab enough to just blind you for that left hand. So knowing that, we know Hunter is one of the thinkers of the game, so he's probably already on that too. So they're probably going to look to counter that by jabbing over top of Stevenson and moving to his left like you're taught as a beginner, or letting him come, like I said earlier, stepping back and then stepping back in with combination pressure to make Stevenson think twice about throwing that left hand after a while.
Right.
So, like I said, there are a lot of variables going on in that fight, and it depends on how well Fonfara can execute those to change the dynamic of what we see in that fight, because otherwise we see the exact same fight as the first time, where he overcomes some adversity to come on late, but too late, and end up losing the decision. So I've already said that I think that that's how it's going to go. How do you see it going?
I still like Stevenson in this fight. I kind of want to see where both their chins are at, because one, again, Fonfara, the knockout loss to Smith, not a lot of punishment. It was just that one knockout, but that can rattle anyone.
Right.
Kind of went tooth and nail. Not tooth and nail, but Dawson was able to land some really good shots.
Yeah.
But he's more active. I believe he's more actually active than Stevenson. And Stevenson, even though it wasn't a long fight,
Right.
took some punishment in that fight versus Thomas Williams.
And not only that, that fight was quite a bit ago.
Yeah, so Stevenson is not active. I don't think he fights more than twice a year. I don't think he's fought once in 2016.
Yeah, I can't remember who else he fought other than Thomas Williams. Off the top of my head, but I know once I sit down and think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, he fought this guy.
Yeah. So because he doesn't fight often and Fonfara fights a little bit more often, you may see a difference in how fresh they are. Maybe Stevenson is fresh but rusty. Maybe Fonfara is not quite as fresh but still sharp. Just basically still on par where he needs to be as far as his ability and everything. So.
Yeah, so that's how we see it, guys. You let us know how you see it. What dynamics do you think are going to play into this fight? And who do you think is going to win? So that's it for us, guys. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit the like button. Share this with your friends. You know you like the content if you watched it this far. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Hit us up on all those social media networks. And we'll see you in the next video. Until then, fight on.
Round one, and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost. My fists are on fire. I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage. Keep thinking that it's a game. I kick crime, hurricane. I told them I don't play. I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.